Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am trying to get loaded up on Spaces right now so that we can have our regularly scheduled Spaces. So bear with me a second. I may need to do something drastic. Bear with me. Try to get this going. Okay. Where is it? Oh, I know. Hold on. All right. There we go. Join the space. Oh, man. Good evening.
What's up, Banana?
I'm doing good. Doing good. I'll start off with a tweet that I was reading before I jumped on Spaces. I just gotta find it. Where is it? Oh, somebody was replying to Richard Hart's post about what keeps you bullish during this bearish time or something like that. And this gentleman says, this is not a bear. This is not a bull. This is a hinge, which feels like nothing until it moves the door. I thought that was good.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Creative response.
Yeah, I thought that was too. I'm going to find my pinned video and drop it into the Jumbotron because I thought that Gary Woods' suggestion of doing that right off the bat is a good idea.
Yeah, way to remember.
And
that's the hardest part.
Yeah, making it a habit is difficult. You know what happens though? As soon as you do it like once or twice back to back and you're like, I got it. Then the third time you forget. Because it didn't happen. You dropped your guard and it hasn't really become a habit yet. That's a habit.
Almost like you could set it up with there.
Whoop. I just closed the space. I mean, I closed myself out of the space. Funny man. All right, let's find. I'm doing lots of stuff here. I exited the space by accident.
Oh, you're all good. I'm throwing the spaces in the TG right now, anyways.
Oh yeah, good idea. Which I did not do. Oh,
just remind everyone when they hop in here, if they want to see some visuals and we're going over some stuff, you can go to Banana's YouTube as well. Also, if you just want to put some comments and don't want to come up to the speaker board, if you want to chime in just not verbally written, you can always go to Banana's YouTube and he'll read out questions and comments.
Yeah, somebody dropped it in the Jumbotron ahead of me. So thanks to whoever did that. Thank you very much. It seems like I come back to my office earlier every week. And I still don't get everything done I need to right before Spaces.
You know what's been throwing me off a little bit is daylight savings time. Now when we do these Spaces, it's like pitch dark. So I feel like I'm doing them super late.
And it's all in your head, right?
Yeah, at the same time, but it just feels like we're doing them so much later now.
Yeah. Yep. I was going to ask you something on Spaces tonight, and hopefully it'll gender up in my mind. There's not a lot of people on Spaces yet. I think that the crowd is thin. or they're here to find out what's going wrong. What is going wrong in crypto? Well, I don't know. There's lots of red. I know that. I mean, Hex is down. P Hex, the real Hex, I guess, is down 11%. Bitcoin is $92,000. Ethereum is $3,030. And it's just and PulseChain is 2,000 205. It's pretty rough. I'll admit it's pretty rough. But I'm going to tell you what, man. I don't have all the pieces. I don't have an entire perspective. But I'll tell you what I don't have. Prairie Banana. The guy standing in my shoes does not have enough evidence that it's over. And I remain, but I have some things I'm hanging on to, which is liquidity hasn't really come yet. We haven't had euphoria. Oh, there's a number of other things we're waiting out still on the business cycle. And so I have to go with my head on this and put my emotions on the side. And I'm thinking, dude, this is temporary. It has to be temporary. I could be wrong, but that's where I'm hanging my hat as of this moment.
Do you know this chart? It's like an off yellow color. It's a super old chart that I guess someone made in like 1920. And
Yes.
It's kind of like historical data of when there's good times and bad times, when to sell stocks, when to buy stocks. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I've seen it twice today.
Yeah, I saw it today too, and it reminded me. I screenshotted it, and I'm gonna do a little post with it tomorrow. But I was gonna bring it up when they're posting it. Bringing up that 2026 on this chart is good times, good to sell stocks, etc.
Yes.
And I think that's a good thing to bring up as well. And I always felt like it was so interesting that I haven't like fully researched some of the things on that chart, but in the triangle underneath the 2026 is the 369
yes
numbers, which I think is just funny because on PulseChain we use those numbers so much that I just like to sometimes feel like, you know what, 2026 is our year. Right now is just one of those dips that happen, and maybe the normal market cycle, 4-year cycle isn't really this thing anymore. We haven't had real retail in yet. And, yes, we did get Bitcoin into the hundreds of thousands very early, very quick, very easily, but that was all institutional money. That wasn't retail. Retail hasn't shown any signs of us being here. And yes, maybe this cycle they don't come in and we're partially into the bear already, but maybe we haven't started like the true all season at all yet.
Mm-hmm.
And we just needed a little bit of an exhale before the last big inhale.
Yes. And could be. Yep. But I think there might be more to it than just that. And this is something that is new to me, that is settling in on me. And that is that and I'm watching a 2-hour documentary. I'm like 20 or 30 minutes into this documentary about this. It just came across into my inbox like yesterday. And that is that the institutions and the banks have gotten a hold of this digital currency thing, and they have found ways to manipulate it for their to help their bags. And so this could be part of a flushing out, because if I knew TA, and I don't even pretend to, but I would be looking at the charts and I'd say, oh man, it's time to sell. Well, they know this, and that they can cause a little bit of fear and cause people to sell and cause panic in the market, I think, which is what is happening. And they could be, I don't know this to be a fact, but I'm guessing they're probably scooping up cheap Bitcoin and Ethereum right now, or they're about to. And crypto.
Yeah, I think I saw earlier today, MicroStrategies bought some more Bitcoin. I could be wrong there, but the institutions are definitely still scooping it up. I actually thought that there was going to be a little bit more support at that 100K mark, but it seemed like once that 100K broke, it kind of fell pretty quick. But I do think there is a good chunk of demand right here. A lot of institutions at this point, since we've been over 100K for almost a year now, or I think maybe even over a year now, institutions look at under 100K as a discounted Bitcoin.
Sure. Crypto Coffee, I think it was in response to Richard Hart's, one of his posts in the last hour or so. Crypto Coffee says, we've already been in a bear market and we just bottomed. Cycles are all different now because the Illuminati got control. And that's what I'm getting at. That somebody has gotten control of the market or is trying to take control, and therefore we're having a little bit of pullback. And I think that the average holder is in a panic right now.
Yeah, you can definitely see that just on social media. Pretty much everyone is at panic right now. It's extended past a lot of people's time frames.
Mm-hmm.
For a little bit, people were thinking extended cycle, and then this dip pretty much came right when everyone thought it was go up time.
Yes.
October or November, I think a lot of people were waiting for those times of the year, and then it pretty much did the opposite. But, even with these lower times with specific assets, there is, still the positives to look at. Like right now, I was literally looking at PTGC before a buy and burn was done today, and we were still buying and burning $3 million, $4 million a day. Even volume was pretty slow. And then let me pull it up real quick, just so I have the exact number.
Are you pulling up the volume or the burn?
Just how much we were able to burn today at these levels.
Well, our volume earlier today at mid-afternoon, where I live, was like 78,000. Like, what? That's some great volume. And what that means for us is rewards. I couldn't believe the number of tokens that I recycled this morning. I was like, this is wonderful. It'll be really nice at a 10x from here.
Yeah, so like what we were able to buy and burn today at these low levels was almost 90 million PTGC.
Wow. That's like 1/10 of a billion. That's almost 1/10 of a billion. The initial supply was 333 billion. I mean, that's a lot of PTGC relative to how much actually exists.
Yeah, just at these low levels, even on days that we have relatively lower volume, I would still consider today one of, relatively lower volume, but with how low price is, we're actually able to get more token supply off the market. We have to realize right now we're on a 90% dip. This isn't just because of our pullback against PulseChain. It's mostly due to the pullback of PulseChain. But we are able to take advantage of these opportunities. Even with volume in a 70 range, we're still able to take a good chunk of tokens of circulation. And we can utilize this one more retracement, if it's one more retracement before a decent move on PulseChain. Utilizing this extra retracement is going to make the moves in the future so much more sustainable. Think about this dip we're in right now. If this dip didn't happen, think how much distribution we've done in just this dip. Even if you go back one dip before it, a lot of people didn't think we're even going to get the dip before that. They thought right when Trump was coming in, that was going to be kind of bull market time into April. Well, that was 2 dips ago for PTGC. Yeah. That's 2 times we've been able to consolidate and distribute the tokens into, more hands, which isn't always mean stronger hands, but, a more diversified, more spread out community is always good. One person turning into 10 people, well, those 10 people might know 10 more people. You know what I mean? So we kind of have that web effect going on in our community, especially when prices start to move up. People tend to tell people, and it'll be good, that we have this distributed supply. And we didn't even think we were getting these 2 dips a year ago.
Yep.
A year ago from now, we thought we were in like that big all-season run. Trump was going to come in. We thought crypto was going to move.
Man.
We thought April in the summer was going to be the end of the cycle, and we're going into the bear. Obviously, I guess that maybe could be the case, and we had like a double top thing going on.
Sure.
But with no real alt season, I think we still have the possibility that it's just the cycle's kind of jumbled up. We still have an alt season on the way. It's definitely heavily delayed, but the supply distribution of PTGC is getting so good.
Yep. I've seen it. I saw it yesterday. I was looking in the Dow at the top wallets. I was like, what? It's getting really spread out. I mean, the number of tokens required to be in the top 100 is way less than it used to be. I mean, I've been watching one particular wallet. It was like my benchmark, and it was down. It was at number 100. It's now number 96, and it went into the top 100 not long ago, like maybe several months ago, and suddenly it's number 96. Before long, it'll be in the 80s.
I agree with that, right? That's kind of where I was getting at is I do think with what the system is, there is going to obviously be people that kind of just take profits with a portion of their portfolio, and that's fine. But I think for the people who want to increase their position in the asset by just at least holding, you don't even need the DCA. DCAing obviously is going to speed up the process, especially during dips like this. If you're taking advantage of dips like this is an easy way to increase your position size drastically. But just holding the asset in the next 4 years, I think people will be surprised at where their asset sits in the list, like where their holding percentage sits in the list of the top. You know, if you're ranked 200 right now, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if that person who's number 200, if they are just compounder, if they're just holding their main, that person next cycle could be 100.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, and in reference to the video that's in the Jumbotron, so if you're cruising Twitter and you landed on this Spaces, this is about PTGC and UFO index tokens on the Pulse.
Something different, just so you know.
Oh, is there? It's gone now, actually. I'll make sure.
No, it's not gone, guys.
It's not.
I put in test. Richard did a tweet just a few minutes ago, and that's obviously something we want to talk about. So I put it in the nest. All you have to do is just scroll over to the left, and you'll see yours.
Oh, okay. So if you're curious what we're talking about tonight and just want the skinny on it, click on that video. And it's like a 3 to 5 minute teaser. But do you want to talk, Mando, about what you placed in the Jumbotron?
I just wanted to get it in there.
Okay.
Richard just made a tweet. If you want me to read it, I can read it.
Yeah, please.
Imagine if someone came up with a solution to on-ramp and off-ramp to all chains. So we're getting information now, more information coming out about ProveX. Imagine if someone came up with a solution to on-off ramp from all chains. Remove middlemen, replaces trust with math, great tokenomics, figures out a way to get people to use a better chain, gives people something new instead of the same similar stuff over and over again. Imagine it could replace trust with proof in all kinds of industries. You'd have to be dumb to shun such an idea.
What do you think he's talking about? Just ProveX? Or is there more?
Yeah, he's talking about ProveX, and he's talking about, you know, what he believes that it will do and the benefits of it, and how it can bring people to PulseChain, which he's obviously saying is a better chain.
So one thing I find interesting about it, Mando, is in the past, and correct me if I'm wrong, he's talked about there being a fee when interacting with ProveX. If you're on and off ramping, or if you're using it as like some escrow service, because I think there's a few use cases, if I understand correctly, but there is a fee involved for doing so. And if the asset itself that's getting bought and burnt is on PulseChain, but the product itself is cross-chain, so if you're able to on and off ramp or do services on multiple different chains, it kind of creates a funnel effect where it's taking a service from all the chains, but bringing the value of that 1% fee to one specific asset on a specific chain, which does help with the price appreciation of not only that asset, but also for the chain as well and everything on the chain, because the asset is most likely going to be bonded with PLS. And the only way that that product or service could buy and burn that specific asset is by getting into PLS first. So that's, I think what I got out of that is, and correct me if you're wrong, but I don't know if this product will have a lot of volume right off the bat. Uniswap didn't have a lot of volume right off the bat. It took time for adoption and for product market fit to kind of work itself into place. But what we're seeing on a lot of exchanges is, people's funds getting cut off, or they aren't able to access it, or it's very hard to get in and out. You have to KYC. A lot of these things no one wants to really do, but we have to do because it's our only option to get on and off. So if a legitimate solution comes out and it's actually able to be used and easy to work with, and you can actually bring large lump sums of in and out, yes, maybe it starts off with having low volume, but it could actually increase to very, very large volume amounts very quickly. And we can see firsthand that no one minds paying the fees. Anyone who's went onto Coinbase just to bring $10,000 into cryptocurrency, there's a large fee there. And it's just something you have to pay. So we could even have less fees than that in profitable service.
Yeah, that's why I was hoping that, when he said that he would be live streaming that, based on, he's never on time. Richard's never on time with anything. So when he said that he was going to be live streaming based on basically putting some information together, that's what I want.
Yeah, 5 days ago.
Yeah, I think that would be phenomenal if he actually did that and then gave us some details that he said he was writing down, information he was writing down, and he's kind of preparing, what seemed to be some interesting monologues on probably what ProveX is or whatever the hell it is. Who knows? It's not like him to, I don't think, to just say he's going to do that and then not do it. It is like him to, give a time frame and not do the time frame, because that's what he does all the time. So
yes.
But yeah, I think it's very interesting. It's interesting right now, the valuation that's coming in on ProveX in terms of how much is coming into the sacrifice currently right now.
Where's it at right now?
1.
I haven't looked for a while.
1.9.
Yeah, it's just right at 2 million. So I mean, that's a nothing burger valuation. I mean, we got dumb meme coins on the chain that are 2 million. So it's obvious that either individuals are waiting for to see what comes in. I think probably you'll end up having some whales come in at the end there. More than likely, there's obviously a few pools that are already being set up, but even with the pools, there's some game theory to this, obviously. But what I'm saying is that Richard is obviously not going anywhere. Richard's not like rug pull. Richard's not, he is building. He's in the game. He's actually trying to do things even though he's in a really, really shitty situation with just so many different things that have hit since we launched PulseChain, it doesn't matter, from the SEC to just, the exchanges to not being ranked properly on aggregated data websites to, the market doing weird stuff this time around, to ETH not performing. It's just been headwind after headwind after headwind, right? But Richard's still in the game. He's still trying to be innovative in terms of this is directly correlated to, in my opinion, it's directly correlated to on-ramping and off-ramping, which has been a problem, and it's correlated to, like you said, if it's multi-chain, then that does give the ability for other people to come over from other chains in a different format than we're used to, right? So from the vantage point of Richard going anywhere, I don't see that.
No.
I see Richard's constant. There's still a massive marketing campaign going on. You have a sacrifice happening. It's the sacrifice and the marketing are happening in a very shitty time in the cycle. Whether the bear market is in, or like you said, whether we're gonna hit an SMA and then retrace and just keep on going. Either way is 100% possible in this current environment. We are not guaranteed a bear market, and we're not guaranteed a bull market. Nobody has a freaking clue. I'm listening to all the biggest people in the space. I'm literally spending 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, listening to the biggest hedge funds, the biggest guys. Nobody knows, right? You've got the TA guys that are calling, standard cycle retracements, and they're always caveating it with, I could be wrong and all this. But specific to PulseChain and specific to the sacrifice, it's a very interesting thing that's going on right now with Richard. Nobody can say that it's not. It's got people talking again. It's got people opening up their own spaces again. It's got whales and larger players coming back together again, discussing potentially entering pools. Whether or not the thing is successful in the short term, I'm completely agnostic. In fact, you guys know my view. It's probably not. But at a $2 million input thus far, to me, that's a low. That's a low.
Oh yeah.
That's real low. So we're gonna have to watch and see
15 days left.
Where this comes in at. But this, his outbound messaging is legit. If he comes back and does a live stream like he said, that's bullish. That's that's one of the most bullish.
Oh yeah.
Messages that we just kind of grazed over and forgot about because he didn't do it within 48 hours, which doesn't matter. But if he actually does, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, that's a good point to bring up. If this gets him live streaming again, how is this not worth it? Live streaming is not what we need, but would be obviously a massive catalyst to the success of this chain, with or without the product of PulseX or ProveX. Sorry, ProveX.
Yeah, you got to ask yourself, where would you put the valuation at?
Of ProveX? Literally, I think it's more bullish the less money that's in it. I don't know if that's how you think. The less people that sacrifice for it makes me want to sacrifice for it more.
Well, no, I get that, but it's an indicator of the value, not, whoever sets the ratio initially sets the market cap and then immediately can inject whatever amount of weight liquidity, right? So the market cap, everything is going to be determined by that first ratio setup. But I'm specifically focused on just looking at it, we're, I don't know how many days in. And, I mean, Richard raised like $1 billion in each of the previous sacrifices, and this is like at a $2 million, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If the valuation's low, that means there's very little amount of money in it. That means you haven't tapped everyone out in that product yet. That's, one of the problems with sacrifices is pretty much everyone's investing their money into the product before the product's even out. So once the product's out, there's no more money to even be put in it unless you're bringing in new people that haven't heard about it yet. But we know that there's a large amount of people on PulseChain that are hearing about this. They're just not putting their money in beforehand. They want to see the product hit the market, and then maybe they'll speculate, right?
Not necessarily with the sacrifice. Not necessarily. I mean, in my opinion, there's a lot of people right now that may enter. As a matter of fact, I'm guaranteeing that there's a lot of people there's going to be a lot more money than enters.
Well, that's what I believe that too. I think in the last few days of the sacrifice, there will be a very large amount of money that flows in from the community. Previously, the large money that went into the other sacrifices, I believe, was like Richard, or believed to be Richard. But there's a lot more information on the other sacrifices, so I don't think people really minded just going in at the beginning. They didn't need more information. But I feel like a lot of people right now are waiting for more information. All I was getting at is the smaller the number, the more bullish I am.
And so that's a key, just for everybody to think about. That's why I believe he said he was going to do a live stream and he was putting a bunch of notes together, because that's what he did the last time. And if you're going to be in the middle of a sacrifice and you want to raise as much money as you can, why in the hell wouldn't you live stream? When that's the exact thing that generated billions of dollars in capital the last time. So I believe that this will be the catalyst that brings him back.
Yeah, that question, I've been asking myself that same question for a long time. If you're asking, how can I help my blockchain succeed? And you know the exact recipe that helped your first asset succeed, wouldn't you start with trying out that exact same recipe, and then if it doesn't work from there, start modifying it? But he's not even doing the exact same recipe this cycle as he did last cycle.
Not yet.
So then I almost started to ask myself, did he not care for the price of PulseChain to do super until he wants it to? Or was there other things stopping him that possibly still could be stopping him? Obviously, he said that I might live stream. So those things maybe aren't stopping him anymore. Obviously, we don't know the fine details. I completely agree with you. If you wanted to raise money and live stream is going to probably increase the amount of money you raise by a drastic amount, you would most likely live stream. How does it differ from even his own assets? Him live streaming would probably increase his own assets price.
100%.
And he's obviously a large holder of his own products. So by live streaming, not even before ProveX, he would have increased his own wealth by doing so.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting situation right now.
Nudge that he needs, I think it's super worth it. You know what I mean? If you ask yourself, new product, new token, new sacrifice, and he comes back streaming, all these, even if don't sacrifice, and that's kind of where I was getting at, even if you don't sacrifice, you can still benefit from the product. You could benefit from the product because he comes streaming again, and obviously most likely says positive things about PulseChain, PulseX, and Hex, and reassures people of, the product doing what it should be doing. And, we're figuring out how to win in this crypto landscape. I think that's a lot of what people just need to hear is, hey, we're knocking we're knocking down ideas, or if we keep knocking on down ideas, if you keep working towards a goal, eventually you usually reach that goal. Usually doesn't happen as quickly and easily as people think. By him just saying that out loud to people with a genuine feel, I think that helps the community out more than most people even realize. Also, where I was talking about, if it's a product that's cross-chain and it's bringing value into PulseChain because multiple blockchains want to use this service, it's doing $5 million a day in volume, which really isn't that much if it's going across multiple chains and, you know, people are using it for on and off ramping. I'm sure we could get it to those points, and it's only getting 1%. Well, that's $50,000 a day. $50,000 a day of buy pressure on PulseChain in this asset. I think like 18 a year or something like that. Like, I'm sure everyone would love $18 million a year injected into PulseChain.
Mm-hmm. Big Sam said, "Good evening, Banana. I appreciate everything you do. Can we hear from Mando? I would love to get his perspective on this PulseChain market dump."
Yeah, I mean, I've been tweeting pretty much about it, pretty clearly. If you go back into my posts, maybe the last, I'd say 3 or 4 or 5 posts that are related to the sacrifice and PulseChain, I essentially told people to sell, to take profits and everything that they had that were shit coins and get ready prior to the sacrifice. Because I just, you know, the way that the sacrifice is set up, it's designed to make the price of the chain go down. So let me read something real quick. Some people aren't reading some of the posts, but let me read this one. It says, "I truly believe it's playing out exactly as I said it would, because I've seen it in the past. Why are the cores and most altcoins going down right now on PulseChain since the sacrifice started? Because that's exactly what the sacrifice is literally designed to do. The only way for the community to participate in the Proof X process, they must, 1, sell cores into accepted assets, 2, sell alts into accepted assets. Both of these dump the chain. And people keep asking me why the chain is red. Really? If you're selling your cores and quality alts right now, you are being played like a fiddle. It's a Richard Hart symphony designed to strip as much value as possible from the community and remove all sell pressure from the ecosystem. It's a test to see who really is here long term. It's his version of Game of Thrones. People understand this. Understand this. If PulseChain doesn't move up in price, nobody is going to give a damn about ProofX. Personally, I think ProofX will be a great tool for PulseChain, but it won't mean a thing without the success of the cores, which means the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. And the main thing is PulseChain. And Richard knows this, full stop. If you're being scared out of your cores or top tier alts right now, you're falling into the trap the sacrifice was strategically designed to set. Lastly, there are already whale pools for this ProofX sacrifice. And unless you are in them, your price per token will be much higher than theirs. Bottom line, don't sell your cores, don't sell your conviction plays. This is all a test. And if you are selling, in quotes, because the chain is going down, well, now you know why. The sacrifice is designed to make everything come down. So between now and the first day of the bonding curve rate change, relax, enjoy the show, but don't be the dum-dum getting played. Disclaimer, and I say that here live, nothing I share is financial advice. These are my personal thoughts. So that's what I believe. I tweeted before the sacrifice started. I had conversations with Zen privately, and I told him exactly what I thought. It did exactly what I thought it would do. And how could it not? When he chose to put a sacrifice out that didn't accept any of his core assets, well, what does that mean? That means that anybody who wants to participate in the sacrifice for ProveX must, if they weren't already in stable coins, which most were not, most were not, in my opinion. Most were not ready to sell at this point, but some are, some do. But for the most part, when he released that none of the cores were going to be accepted, well, what does that force everybody on chain to do? It forces them to sell the cores into those accepted assets. That drops the chain. If they have value in altcoins, it forces them to sell the altcoins into PulseChain and then into those assets that are accepted assets as well. So it's common sense why the chain is dumping. But then at the same exact time, you have Bitcoin dumping. So you have a double whammy of the general legacy market dumping, as well as a sacrifice going on, which is forcibly forcing the entire chain down because of the draw from liquidity. The assets are being sold off into off-chain assets, right? And then sent to a sacrifice address. So that's why when you're looking at what's going on and you're selling your assets right now, if you're getting scared, I'm not telling you what to do, but just know why the assets in terms of the cores and even PTGC, know why it's coming down. It's not necessarily coming down because everybody's selling. It's coming down because people are choosing to take what they have on chain, swap it into accepted assets that are not associated with PulseChain at all. That's dropping the prices of everything on chain. And then we're also bonded in liquidity to Bitcoin and Ethereum, which has been taking a dump over the last week. That's why the chain's down.
Yep.
Okay. We're still over all-time lows. It's still sitting here, right? But that's why this is all very interesting, the timing of it and the design of it. It truly is a Game of Thrones reality. He wants to get as much value into his hands that were not cores. And by doing that, it does a number of different things. And I don't want to get into all that right now, but go through and read the last few different posts. But that's why the chain is dumping. And if it's scaring you out of your position and you don't understand that, you might be making a bad choice.
Yeah. Yep. We are down 33% since last Tuesday evening. And the $2 million that is in the sacrifice, if it came back into Pulse right now, it would 2x the price.
Yeah, the amount of capital to bring it back up to that is literally nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it works in both ways. Liquid. It can pump so easily, but with just a little bit of sell pressure on the chain, it can also dump very quickly too.
If Richard tweets, "I'm going live in 2 hours," and it actually happens, you're going to go way up.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're out and you weren't there to buy before that happened, that train just left the station.
Yeah. That's risky.
That's a fact.
Uh-huh.
So that's why watching out for any tweet about a live stream right now is like it's massive for anybody who's been here.
Uh-huh. One of my buddies this weekend, I don't know what he was holding besides PTGC and UFO, but he rotated everything into stables because he's a little bit nervous, except for his Gray's currencies.
Oh, I've rotated a shit ton into stables.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I saw the design, and it's like, okay. I mean, the only thing that can happen is the chain gets sold down for a second. You can't have, and here's why. I'm assuming that the large majority of individuals partaking in the sacrifice for ProveX are not coming from other places. Some are, but my assumption is it's the current community, right? And if the current community can't just send Pulse or Hex or PulseX or Ink or eHex to a wallet address like we were able to do in the first sacrifices, then that means that the chain has to get temporarily sold down.
Mm-hmm.
Richard obviously does not care that the chain gets temporarily sold down.
Yep.
He obviously could care less about that.
Yeah. I was thinking about that on my way in. He doesn't care about the temporary, but I hope and I think that he probably still cares about the future.
Oh, of course. Everything he's doing is to build the chain. Everything that the guy's doing right now. Richard does two things right now, I guarantee you. He does women and PulseChain. That's what he does. He enjoys his life, and he obsesses over PulseChain.
Mm-hmm.
But this is important. This is important, Zen. This is what I mean. Like, what everybody is thinking. Oh, the sky is falling. The sky is falling. Richard doesn't care about you feeling if the sky is falling or not.
Yeah.
He's building.
Yep.
He's building. He's doing sacrifices. He's creating. He's doing what he always does, and he's not caring about your feelings on that he didn't make you, a gazillionaire in 24 months.
Yes. Yep.
I'm actually surprised price isn't even lower. I definitely know of a few people who have stabled up in the recent days, and I don't talk to too many people. So, and we all know how little amount of liquidity here is on chain. So I actually found that pretty interesting too.
Well, I haven't sold any of my PTGC in terms of, so.
Well, I was referring to PulseChain in general.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Because even if they're selling out of like alts on the chain, maybe they're not selling their RH tickers, like it all has to go through PulseChain. So there is.
We're losing you, Zen.
Yeah, you kind of got muffled there, brother.
What I was saying is there is people taking advantage of these discounts, because I have heard of people selling out of PulseChain or even some alts to get stables. Not even so much to sacrifice, just like you said, Mando, seeing the design of the sacrifice made them move some into stables. Just seeing that design, not even the fact that they wanted to sacrifice.
Yeah, because if you know anything about how liquidity pools work and what that design by default would do, you knew that the chain was going to go down. That's why I texted it. I tweeted it out, 36 hours in advance. And I literally told everybody, guys, if you're sitting on shit coins, man, get it out of there and you take your profits right now.
Mm-hmm.
I had so many people hit me up thanking me for that tweet. You have no idea. I mean, that's made a lot of people a lot of money. That gave them a lot of firing power. You know, when you stable up and the chain goes down 33% on the mean in like less than a week, man.
Wow.
It can also bounce up 30% in one tweet by Richard.
Oh yeah, totally.
100%. And let me tell you, if that tweet hits, the second I see that YouTube video go live, bro, it's all deployed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think same as just like you know, there's a bunch of other people with that strategy too, and that's what sparks, you know, that 30% move up.
True.
Yeah, that probably answered, I think you said Sam. Sam
Yep.
was his name?
Yes.
Question perfectly.
Yeah. Hopefully he caught that. Let me know in the chat, Big Sam.
Yeah, Richard made interesting tweets too in the last hour. I don't think a lot of them had a bunch of information like that, but more just engagement, better energy tweets, kind of bull posting almost. I don't know if you saw any of those, Banana.
I'm scanning through him right now. He says, post, this is an hour ago. He says, post your best hopium. And I replied, I put that image in there that he dropped a few days ago of the standard Bitcoin, cycle correction. There was my hopium. And then he says, post in this thread if you wish number go up. And then, of course, he posted 5 hours ago, tired of all the same stuff, wants something actually new. Check out provex.info. He says, turns out people are real sensitive during 40% dips.
Yeah, that was him ripping the Band-Aid off for sure.
Yeah, he did, man. Yeah, I love it, man. Sorry. I know that I'm not happy for the people that are upset right now, but I look at it as it's going to send us so much into such a better space when we do have our bull run on PulseChain.
Yes, it's currently Zen 1.96 mil, 4,300 free sacrifices. What's up? You're muffled, dude. You gotta fix your mic somehow. You keep getting muffled.
I wasn't even talking. Banana?
Yeah. What's up, man?
I was saying, were you hearing anything on my end? I wasn't talking.
Yeah, for the last 30 seconds, it sounds like your phone's inside of a sock or something.
You still hear it? Or
now you're clear.
Okay.
Yeah, like almost like maybe it's on the other side of your collar or something. I'm not sure, but it's very muffled.
Okay. Well, I wasn't saying anything, Mando. You can keep going. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, if anybody has more comments or questions, come up and talk, guys. I know it's like popcorn and M&M's time for most of you guys, but it's a great time to come up and hear from everybody. The largest sacrifice currently in first place is 321 grand. Second's basically 51 grand. And that's a 2.83 multiplier. The number 10 position is at a 20 grand sacrifice with a 2.39% multiplier. And the bonding curve begins 12-2. So we're on day 7 currently. Yeah, so, I mean, you know, we've got just a little bit of time left here. Couple weeks, 3 weeks or so. And then that bonding curve is going to start ratcheting up. So what I expect to see is just prior to that day or on that day, you're going to see the largest players enter the sacrifice between now and that day, but more than likely within probably on that day. Because what that does is, I mean like literally like even within the hour of the bonding curve closing or shifting.
Sure.
Yeah, they don't even want people to know that they're going to be coming in, because then other people have time to beat them out. If you don't give them time, your likelihood of being in that top spot or top spots, if you don't care about maybe being number 1, but you're trying to get into the top 10, which it sounds like the amplification is pretty good, you'd want to be strategic with that.
I think, man, the main thing is that, there's a lot of negative sentiment, dude, out there. But, the man's doing what the man's doing. And, you can't control the markets. You can't control Bitcoin actually doing something different and changing up the cycle, which it did. You can't control SEC. You can't control being gate kept on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko and every damn website. You can't control ETH not performing. You can only play with the hands you're dealt. There has been capital injection. There's been multiples of capital injections on PulseChain where people could have taken shit tons of profits. There's been multiple times where it was above sacrifice price if you absolutely wanted to get out, So the expectations things for me, like it's hindsight 2020, but you cannot say that either if you wanted out, you couldn't have gotten out. You could have multiple times. You cannot say that it's the stuff's not been delivered. You cannot say Richard's just disappeared. You can't say he hasn't been spending tons of money to maintain the chain, upgrade the chain, beat the SEC like $25 million or something. Constant devs, new stuff launching. So I guess it's like the only thing that I think really people can honestly complain to Richard about is, and it's just a complaint, it's not a requirement, it's just that, hey, we want to see you live stream. We would love to see you actually come back and be who you were as a founder, which that's because we all love Richard. We just miss the freaking guy. We miss his charismania. Yeah. And we know that brings eyeballs and that brings users and that educates people, and that education is what brings people to the chain. But I mean, outside of that,
it's one of the biggest onboarding tools for sure.
Yeah. But this whole like hate fest, I think for me personally, and then I'll be quiet. The other thing is just the posture, There could just be more professionalism on the posture side, and just kind of, certain things, the ways certain things are done or framed or whatever. But, let's be real, guys. that was always Richard. That's kind of what you signed up with. You knew who he was before you sent him the money, right? When he's cussing everybody out and telling everybody they're crap, and he's on with 4 attorneys going head to head with 4 people. It doesn't matter who he's talking. So, you know, it is what it is. But the thing that I think is important is he's here. He's working. There's things happening. And the chain's not at all-time lows.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
Josh on YouTube asks, go ahead, Sid. Go ahead, please.
It's pretty much at all-time lows, but there is still positive things about PulseChain being at these low levels. If we have a recovery, right? I believe we're going to have a recovery, so I look at these low levels as a great place to DCA, a great place to onboard if you were to ever onboard someone. And then also, the buy and burns. We have to remember PTGC is a deflationary asset. UFO is a deflationary asset. PulseX is a deflationary asset. I've been seeing how much PulseX has been getting bought and burnt the last week. I've been shocked. Billions of PulseX every single day.
Wow.
Almost hundreds of millions of PTGC on, days like today. I think a couple days ago we did another one of decent size as well. So as far as scarcity goes, this dip is just making these assets that have had lack of demand just due to lack of exposure very, very scarce. Yep. And now they're cheap. So if you want any scarce assets are cheap, we're in it right now. If you're good and you have them, well, I think a little bit of time will solve a lot of the problems. A little bit more time.
Yeah. Joshua on YouTube asks, what's the next big move for PTGC?
Right. Advantage of this discount is a big thing that we're kind of working on right now. We have to keep in mind that PTGC and UFO are completely finished products, just like Richard teaches to deliver. But luckily, the ecosystem, as far as what it is always growing and evolving. So, we're constantly adding liquidity at these low levels. Every single transaction adds to the PLS pair. We're doing buy and burns. We're buying PTGC for future LPs. These are very, very important things, if not some of the most important things in my opinion. So that's happening all the time. And during this discount of PTGC against PulseChain, because the ratio against PulseChain is pretty much sitting at a very low point that we've tapped a few times, and we've hit this point as resistance a long time ago. We've bounced off this point as far as support before. In my opinion, it's a great place to do buy and burns. It's a great place to DCA. It's a great place to onboard. So we're kind of doing that, not only with the DAO, but also as a community, trying to onboard and educate at those levels. We also have the new website coming out soon with some awesome stats and some improvements to the dApps. We're going to get IPFS built into that soon as well, making it so you could run the dApps from your desktop and not from websites. There's going to be some new onboarding tools on that, which is coming out at a great time, in my opinion, possibly not even a better time. For our community to have these new onboarding tools at the bottom of PulseChain and at a local low, pretty much, of PTGC. We couldn't ask for much more. Do a lot of people use it right now? I hope so. But even if they wait until there's a little bit of green and a little bit of morale shift on PulseChain, it will be there and done and ready for when that time comes. And I think that's what always has set PTGC. The thousands of other assets that have launched on PulseChain throughout the last 2 years that have just disappeared into the dust is we don't just disappear during these times. We use these times to build and grow and get ready for the next move up. And every single time PulseChain has hit the lows, if you kind of look at those lows, it's happened like 3 times now. Our moves off of the lows of PulseChain have been drastically larger than PulseChain's moves, just due to the X multiplier and how reflexivity works and how our protocol functions.
What was the framing of the question again?
What's the next big move for PTGC?
Yeah, you know, I the thing that I like about PTGC, man, is that I'm proud of it. It's not just some bullshit thing that was launched on PulseChain. It's a real speculation on something that is very powerful. It's a very powerful financial protocol on PulseChain. So when somebody asks what's the next big thing, the big thing is that it exists. The big thing is that people have the opportunity to speculate on it. I think the big thing is PulseChain doing its job and Richard doing his job. You know, our community has done its job. The big thing is massive buys and constantly taking the supply off the market to where, I mean, what did we just do? Another 90, what was that? Another 10, 12 grand today? Gone. Okay. So almost 100 million PTGC gone. Now, I assure you that there's nobody on chain that does not want 100 million PTGC position right now. These positions are being brought up. The PulseChain is being pushed into the pools, and those tokens are being sent to the 369 debt address. They can no longer yield any more yield. That yield goes to now the existing holders. The Pulse is pushed into the pool, and those tokens can never be sold back into the market again. That is the big move. That is the design of this thing, is the actual big move. It's the thing that everyone in crypto looks for and you never find, because it's always some form of a scam or a scheme or something that happens. So the big move to me is that it's just continuing to do what it's always done in the worst environment imaginable. So what can we ask? And this is as sincere as I can get, guys. What do you want out of a crypto? What more can we ask from the crypto, from the Gray's currency? What more can we ask out of it in the environment that it's been in? When you put that many people and that much gains, and you've bonded with all of your heart, mind, soul, and strength with millions of dollars, and the assets have just gone nothing but down. If the assets literally just stayed just static and stoic, I don't even know where the market cap would be. It would probably be at like $150, $200 million market cap right now. So yeah, I mean, to me, it's like there doesn't have to be some hype fest of what's the next big thing that's going to happen. PTGC is actually doing it right now, and nobody, unless you understand it, nobody feels it. We are here speculating. This is a massive speculation to be on PulseChain, but PTGC is working. It is actually doing what it was designed to do. It's sitting at a $35 million market cap. And guys, if PulseChain turns around, guys, right now, PTGC is proving to be the protocol on PulseChain. Everything else is freaking rugged. Everything else is just at a $2 million market cap with no liquidity, or not every single thing, but almost every single thing else. There's maybe 3 to 5 protocols that I would even look at on PulseChain right now. So yeah, I mean that's a little bit of a monologue and a diatribe, but what more do we want out of a fucking crypto? Pardon my French, but you know, it's it's moving right along. We've got to have a favorable environment. We've got to have PulseChain turn around. PTGC can continue to do what it's doing, and it will continue to do what it's doing. If it keeps going lower, there's just going to literally be that much more tokens burned off the market.
Yep.
That much more tokens going into my wallet and Duhawk's wallet and Williams' wallet
and mine.
And Prairie Banana's wallet.
Yeah, man.
And that's just the thing. If we go lower, these tokens start getting burned out of existence so freaking fast, it's crazy. Whether by the actual buy and burns, or the DAO buying and burning, or the tokens going into strong hands, which is technically like a burn in a way for a time frame. But if we go much lower than this, guys, I mean, the token starts to get, so that when it turns around again, whoever kept those tokens, whoever holds those tokens, those are the big time winners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, crypto ain't pretty all the time. It's just filled with 90+% dips. It's been like that since Bitcoin's first block.
I would say, in addition to what we mentioned to Joshua about what's the next big move for PTDC, it's attempted to get 18,000 wallets by the end of the year.
Well, that's another thing. We almost added 800 new wallets in the last 40 days? I think we're almost at 16,800 now. I mean, I remember when we just crossed over to 16,000. I think it was like last month sometime, wasn't it?
I can tell you how many we've added this month in just a minute. We
Look that number up.
We have 16,775. Let me pop that in here. 16,775. And we started the month. We ended October. We ended October with 16,643. Wait, 16,775 minus 16,643. We've added 132 this month.
Okay, so in September, it had to have been in September then when we were at 16, when we hit 16, because I remember talking about it.
It was actually August. It was in August. Yep,
Okay,
you were close.
Do you know when?
No, I don't know. I don't know the date.
Okay, so 775 new users, August, September, October. So 200, 250 a month. To something like that.
Yeah, let me see.
I mean, on a chain that's in the environment that it's in, man. I mean,
265. Yeah, we're up on the average daily new wallets per day is up this month relative to last month. Like it was like 6 new wallets a day last month. This month it's 8.
Yeah, I was gonna say that if you take those numbers, that's averaging about 10 new wallets a day.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah. It's getting close. Yep.
I think then the in real life stuff is going to be interesting once the website launches. if you want to talk about like what's another big thing coming up, like the ability to have a site that pays you to share things, to share the protocol with a lot more of an ease of use to onboard, and just the ability to get people interested. It'll be cool.
Yeah, that's one of the things we are working on, is just a tool for our community for onboarding to start, just having a one-stop where if you do want to educate or even spark a conversation with someone in real life or someone across crypto, an easy link to send with helpful videos, helpful information, also everything you need to go from no coiner or other blockchain person into PTDC. On that page, there is also going to be a leaderboard. If you want to partake in being a part of that leaderboard, you can create a link, and it will keep track of how much value you onboard. And then we plan on rewarding our own community with the DAO based on, where you are in that link, in a fair percentage system of some kind. That's one of the benefits of having a DAO, is we can come up with new strategies to create incentives like that are fair and justified. But I don't know, and Amanda, you've studied a lot of other projects out there. I've studied a lot of projects too, and that's why I don't know of a hyper-deflationary asset that is out already. So it's not like a minting process where the project's coming out and it's still minting its supply, so it can give out percentages that way. But an asset that is already 100% in supply, out and deflating every single day, that has a process of actually rewarding its community in additional tokens. Let me know if you don't have to say the name of the token, but let me know if you know of an asset that it exists in. I don't know of one.
No, the only ones that I know of, the rewards actually come from inflation.
Me too.
Yeah.
So I don't know of a hyper-deflationary token that has the ability to actually do that. And that's, I think one of the things to highlight on the DAO of that later on, 2 years afterwards, we were able to kind of add something to the ecosystem that's not a token, but just an addition to our system to incentivize growth and community building via PTGC tokens. And why not do that at the bottom, where you're onboarding people at great prices, and then if you are onboarding and you get rewarded for doing so, you're earning PTGC at the bottom, so all that can get revalued as well as we onboard. Buying increases price increases usually marketing, onboarding, etc. And then you could be getting those rewards close to the floor. But also, not even just right now, but the ability to also evolve multiple cycles down the road. Because going back, I think it was Justin or Jason Banana, like, what's the big thing on the horizon right now?
Yep.
There's stuff happening right now, the buy and burns. But I also like to think, like, what can actually happen in the future? Not right now, but 4 years from now, 10 years from now.
There you go.
We have the ability to bond with Ethereum, Bitcoin, stable coins, any asset that comes out, prove X. As everyday things in real life become tokenized, we could create a liquidity web that's so massive, that's actually connected with in real assets, as those in real assets start to become tokenized, that you can legitimately, by owning a share of PTGC, could be owning so much more than just a hub of PulseChain assets in the future.
Woo!
Yeah, I think it's important to kind of elaborate on that a little bit, because the bottom line is that there's one of the safest bridges in all of crypto in the PulseChain bridge. It's an Omni bridge. It's one of the best bridges you can buy and that you can maintain, and it just works beautifully. But we have the ability to buy ETH, and Bitcoin and BNB over the bridge, well underneath the 300-week moving averages in the bear market. We have the ability to actually buy the legacy assets, bridge them in, and bond them with PTGC. We already have a ton of cores. We spent 2 years building up the cores with Richard, and we can still do that. But that's the beauty of having the pivotability of having a revenue generation source that's not hard coded into where all the money goes all the time. A lot of people talk badly about a DAO just to watch their token shit. Just go into the dungeons of darkness because there was no pivotability there. But this is going to actually have the ability when Bitcoin actually does go into a bear market, and if it goes into the 300 week or maybe even goes and taps the 400 week, that's when you're scooping up all of those assets at bare knuckle prices, and you're bonding PTGC with Bitcoin, and you're bonding PTGC with Ethereum, and you're bonding PTGC with BNB, and you're bonding it with like Richard's new asset. And then when that stuff starts and new things that come on the market,
that's what I was even getting at is like we have no idea what cryptocurrency is going to look like 4 years from now.
But do you know what else, Zen? Let's fast forward and just talk just really quickly about a positive sentiment. Let's say that this goes into the billions of dollars of market cap, right? And it's generating, last week, I think you were going over $10 million of volume a day, $5 million of volume a day, whatever it's generating. And the system's graduated. It's moved on to the next level, right? It's never coming back down to these levels ever again. And the DAO doesn't necessarily have to be focusing on, just slamming LP and buy and burns because we're kind of graduated even from that to a degree. It will always be doing that. But then you could say, like, for example, okay.
Yeah, real quick, Mando, before you move on. One reason it's always going to be doing that is those two things are actually hard-coded in the code. It will always buy and burn, and it will always add LP with PLS in every transaction for the rest of that burn.
Exactly. That's a good caveat, and I did mean that. And it will always do that. It will always be doing that. But I'm just saying, just envision, you're at $2 billion market cap. Your liquidity web's worth $150 million. You're generating whatever amount of money per day, per month in revenue. Well, that revenue doesn't necessarily have to just go to the same exact thing all the time. And you were just recently talking about having a system that rewards community members for sharing the protocol. Bitcoin didn't have that. Ethereum didn't have that. Well, guess what? PTGC could actually have a system because it's generating that much revenue and it's graduated to the next level to where, people could actually be getting paid money to share the system. What I'm saying is that at higher levels and at higher valuations and higher market caps, the sky's kind of the limit for what can be imagined. I guess I would land it there.
Yeah, I pulled up the numbers real quick just because you use $10 million a day in volume and what that could be in monthly revenue. So $10 million a day of volume in 1 month would be $15 million of revenue generation in 1 month. So that would be $6 million going to the DAO, which could be a combination of things, buy and burns, LP ads, marketing, these reward systems for onboarding, a lot of different or LPs with other assets that are compatible.
Right. So in that situation, for example, any company generally has a marketing budget of around 10%. So if you're generating $15 million a month, that's $1.5 million that can go toward marketing per month. I mean, so it becomes a very interesting situation. We just need Pulse.
Yeah, crypto isn't a business, right? And will never be a business. But we do know what makes businesses successful in real life, and we should follow a similar goal if it's possible. Luckily, PTDC is actually revenue generating, where most cryptocurrencies are not. So we actually do have the ability to mimic some in real business features that make them successful that most cryptocurrencies don't get to actually take advantage of. And if that doesn't make you feel like you have a complete leg ahead against, I don't really know what would. We have such an advantage here, not only being on PulseChain, but being able to utilize PTDC as a code. It's ultimately unfair. If you look at other cryptocurrencies that exist that are actually companies, but those companies have huge amounts of overhead that they have to pay out before any of the revenue actually even gets to go to the product.
Yeah, so, everybody knows that, like, this system is just, the way that it's designed is just phenomenal. At some point, this is just way forward-looking, just dream talk at this point, but it's very real. But, if we ever get to a certain valuation, and yes, it's not a company, it's not a business, but anything that you want more people to see and more people to get involved with, and if you want your community to grow, you reward your community, share it. You have great high-end top-tier marketing. You share it. It's a no-brainer. But when you have all these protocols and the only thing that people can do is just enter and exit because it's a big Ponzi scheme and there's no capital generation from outside of the system and everything is just pump and dump, you don't have the benefit of what this potentially can do. And that's what's very exciting to me, being forward looking with it. When we were up at 350 million, I could see that right around the corner, dude. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is just astronomical. What this can do with a successful PulseChain.
Yeah, we were having, I think, $2 million volume days at that time, and that $2 million, let me see what that is real quick.
Yeah, we were having 2 million in volume a day.
Yeah, that's $100,000 of value generation in a system that has no overhead. And that was PulseChain at
Nothing.
what did we get to on that move, Mando? 408? Did we even get there?
I don't think we even got there, man.
No, I think I didn't PulseChain get to 302 on that.
Yeah, maybe that one was 3 too.
And then the other
The
one,
last one was
3. Yeah. I mean, think about that, dude. Like, we're talking about, like, not even a 10x of the blockchain, dude. That level's like just getting back just above SAC price or something, and maybe going up, a 2x, let alone a 50x, a 100x. It's so frustrating thinking about that.
Yeah, I think, Zen, you were talking about last December when we had a little run up, and PulseChain was at 4086 or so, still below SAC price. And yeah, we were having a $2 million day. PTDC and UFO each had a $2 million plus day.
Does anybody that
Yeah, that was it, Mando. Yeah, when we were at our all-time high, I don't even think it was that sack rate. Because sack rate was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, sack rate was like March of 2024, I believe.
And our all-time high was 10 months ago, I think it was.
February.
2025, like February. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So think about that. Our all-time high when we're at those $2 million a day, Mando, we weren't even at that. We're at like 408.
Damn, dude, that's just insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we haven't seen sack rate in over a year and a half, I think.
Since early March of 2024.
Yeah. And think of like how PTGC has evolved in the last year and a half. When we were at sack price on PulseChain, PTGC was only like 6 months old. Yeah, PTGC was only like 6 months old.
You know what I just thought? You know what I was just thinking is, and I've already said this, but I'll say it again. If you wanted to get whales out of the system and they have a ton of your coins, right? But you don't accept their coins, it's a really, really good way to say, hey, you can sacrifice for this other thing, but you got to sell your coins and send me ETH instead. That's why I think that between now and the bonding curve day, you better be ready for a dip potential. Because anybody who's a whale on PulseChain that has not yet sacrificed, but they intend on sacrificing cores, still have to sell them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they are not sitting on stables and have yet to move anything into stables, that's the only way they can. Unless they want to bridge in more fresh capital, and that's what Richard wants anyways. So,
well, that's correct. I just you know that there's always a percentage that will do what they can do. Okay, if there's a variable, there's always a part that will be part of that variable, right? So between now and the best rate ending, I mean, would you not? I would bet that there are people waiting to see how much goes in. And the entire design of the sacrifice is to say, give me all the cores, but give them to me in the form of Ethereum, in the form of USDT, in the form of, and what does that do? That pushes the chain down. They have to give the coins back at these prices and push the chain down, right? They lock in their ProveX sacrifice, and what does that do? That leaves the chain at a level that now can be bought up cheaper. And all of those coins are now out of the hands of those individuals. If you allowed the cores to be just sent from one wallet to another, you don't get. This is where, you know, those early tweets where Richard was saying, how do I get, you know, if I've got $10 million of a thing and he wants to buy a lot of it, how do I get value into it, right? So I think this is a 100% strategic game plan, Game of Thrones, PulseChain Game of Thrones right now happening.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, and that's why I said, man, in my first tweet that I put out, not financial advice, man, but don't get scared out of your freaking conviction plays through this. Know what's happening. I mean, if you think the bull runs over and you think you don't want to hold, well, that's a different story. But if we're just talking about specific to PulseChain and what's going on, like, think about what's happening, guys. I mean, when you have a system specifically designed to force whales to sell down the chain, to relinquish their coins to participate if they don't have stables or things that they want to relinquish on other chains, there's always going to be a percentage of those larger entities that once they see what the pot is looking like, because this is how the whales always act. This is how they always work. They want to know what the numbers are. You want to know why? Because it's ego.
Yeah.
It's called EGO. Ego. They want to be at the top of the list. They want to be the number 1, the number 5, the number 10. And they don't know what those numbers look like until literally hours before the bonding curve ends and the rate starts to increase. You saw it in the Pulse and PulseX sacrifices right there at the end too. When massive amounts of hex was sacrificed. So it's going to be interesting, guys. Never a dull moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 15 more days of it too.
Well, it's
I don't even think it's not only a test of the Richard Hart tokens. I think it's also a test for all the alt tokens as well, to test how strong those communities are also. Because you are going to pump your entire chain, and there's all these alt communities on the chain that you're going to pump, because Richard definitely understands how bonded liquidity works, and any token that is bonded with his assets. And if you were going to create a season on your chain, wouldn't you want to not only test your community, but you then are also testing every single alt community on that chain as well to see how strong they are.
100%. This is the other part of this is nobody knows reflexivity and bonded liquidity and all this stuff like a very small group of people. Richard obviously is one of those individuals. So he knows that when PulseChain does a 10x, any protocol that had a community that knew what the hell they were doing and didn't sell, that they're going to get that 10x in the pools, less any sell pressure. So if you're somebody that knows that in the near future or at some point in the future, it's go time, and you're the type of person that has the mindset that you love to shake out the weak hands, the losers who don't believe. And it's literally your Game of Thrones game plan to do anything you possibly can, literally in your power, to shake every freaking last son of a bitch off your chain that doesn't believe in you, because Richard hates pumping your bag if you don't believe in him. He just won't do it. That's just his mindset. He doesn't care how long you have to wait. He talks about it in his tweets all the time, right? So when you set up a sacrifice like this, not only does it drain the cores, but if people have been on PulseChain and all they have left is gains in an altcoin, and they participate, they sell out of their altcoin to go into a freaking sacrifice. Well, all of that, what that does is that just it removes the X multiplier from that altcoin when it goes up. So it's a strategic way to get whales and the cores out. It's a strategic way to minimize the impact of the X multiplier in all of the alt ecosystems on the chain at the same time. So if people don't see what's happening, like, it's this big setup. It's this big liquidity suck that's designed.
Yeah, well, think about it. Every alt token on top of PulseChain is fractionalized. Some way more fractionalized than others. Obviously, PTDC has a lot more liquidity than most other protocols have, so we can withstand it a little bit stronger. But most protocols are very, very fractional. Legitimately, one holder can pretty much send that chart very far down, making it to where everyone in that asset isn't like, you know what I mean? If there's a player in an asset and their large holding is in that one specific asset, if they were going to sacrifice something, it would be that value. And then, hey, sacrifice it here, but we're not taking that asset and we're not taking PulseChain. So the only way we get to participate is taking your value in that's right here. That one player can push the price down of that asset. Well, now Richard doesn't need to pump the bag everyone else in that specific token because of how it's fractionalized. So the winners could very much be just the protocols who can push through this time period, get to the other side, and then the value starts coming into PulseChain.
Well, it's not the winners could be. The winners that do that are the ones that become the freaking granddaddios of the chain, dude. You know? But the truth is that there's really not that many that exist.
Just this sacrifice coming out on top of the downtrend that PulseChain was already in, wiped it. Ones were left pretty much out. Very few tokens are left at this point.
Yeah, it's absolute, guys. Honestly, go to Dex Pools and just look it in your favorites list. the sacrifice has wiped out almost everything that wasn't legit, and we're not even there yet, right? So
we're not even there. Yeah, we're not even there. 15 more days.
Yeah, none of these tokens, very few of them have any kind of liquidity left. None of them are generating any revenue. They're just a few. They're just a few that are generating revenue to try to help hedge anything like this. But every protocol that comes out the other end of this, and they have their communities intact, they have their protocols intact, and they're moving forward, and they're adding LP, and they're doing what they need to do, those are the only ones that are legitimate on PulseChain at this point. Now, sure, a community come and pump and dump a coin back up, but I mean the ones that you're looking for that are the legitimate ones, right? The real ones. And especially if you're up into 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 million market caps, at this point, in this environment, yeah, man. I mean, that's absolutely phenomenal, frankly. So it's going to be very interesting between now and I think it's December 2nd when the bonding curve rate shifts. I think it's the 2nd. I could be mistaken, but. It's actually exciting. I know that for a lot of people, it's just nothing but pain. I get it. I get it, but it's actually very interesting watching everything happen. Yeah, it's amazing. You know, we got a lot of great guys in here. here that show up pretty much all the time. You know, we would love to hear, you know, some new people that have never come up before. Grab your balls and come up and give us your thoughts. And you know, you've been on the journey with us for quite some time, and it's starting to get real fun, real interesting here.
You got anything left on YouTube, Banana?
Nope, there's nothing on YouTube. Just Backwards Hat Dad is threatening to make a song about Richard Hart coming back and streaming. I thought that was a good idea. A bunch of guys put a 1 in the chat to commission him to do that. Does anybody know what style of music Richard likes?
Oh, he likes the rap, dude. He likes that techno stuff he was dancing to. You know.
There you go, BHD. He's probably going to tie in the Gray's currencies in there somehow, I would imagine.
Hey, man, he said he was going to stream, so you might as well invoke it through music.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, Pulse just went to 1984, 409. Welcome to the ProveX sacrifice. It reminded me of that movie. What's that movie? Districts, where they have the districts. The girl with the bow and arrow. What the hell is it?
Hunger Games.
Yeah. Yeah, welcome to the freaking PulseChain Hunger Games, dude. That's exactly what this freaking thing is, bro.
Yeah.
It's the PulseChain Hunger Games, bro.
Yeah, but Ethereum's under 3,000 also, and Bitcoin's at 90,000. It's across the board.
It is. Well, that's the double whammy right there.
Yeah, Richard's amplifying it.
Yeah. It almost as if he saw it coming, you know. Richard. Right?
Let's see.
Funny, man.
Onto that trading view.
There's nothing green on my watch list except for BNB on the 1 hour, which is 0.06. Everything's red.
I got some green stuff on my favorite list, bro, but I ain't telling you what it's over on PulseChain.
Yeah, this is the Gray's currency spaces anyhow. Yeah.
The only thing great on Mando's is his stable coins he's watching.
You think I sit there watching freaking stable coins?
Well, they're green relative to everything else.
I'm graduating from that shit, bro. It's like my precious stable coins. My precious. 32% retracement for Bitcoin from here to 60,000. 32%. Let's take a look at 70,000. You're looking at 22%. 22% to 70,000. Guys, you know, these assets are only going to go down so far.
Uh-huh.
And all you got to do is just hold and wait. And you know how fast time goes.
Oh, yeah. The older you get, the faster it goes.
Yeah. So when you look at Bitcoin and ETH and anything that's legit, it's the people that held and didn't do anything else. They just literally bought and like threw away the wallet for 10 years. Came back and they're just gazillionaires, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's rumored that Richard has like billions and billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin.
Well, yeah, like 300,000 Bitcoin. I think he's a Bitcoin whale. And that's,
Yeah, I 100% believe that he is. And the amount of ETH he has, it's way more than that little sacrifice wallet, way more. Monero, he was a big Monero guy for a very long time because he's always loved privacy. So that's interesting. Do we think he didn't actually do we think he wasn't actually involved with Ethereum early on? He's a speculator, right? So
I don't even know if it matters. If you ever watch any of the videos of when he was taking in ETH for Hex, ETH, like, what was it at, $100? There was a lot of ETH getting put in.
yeah, he mentioned it on a couple videos that it was like over 1 billion Ethereum went through the AA.
but Zen, if you want to shut it down, I'm good. I go and get me some sleep. I've got a full day making videos tomorrow. But yeah,
I'm ready to shut it down if no one has anything else.
Yep, I'm out.
I'll just say one thing. I just jumped on late. Hey guys.
Oh, what's up, Q? We'll stay on for you. What's up?
What's up? It'll only be quick. I just got caught up today, so I couldn't jump on until now. But it's interesting to just to note, like, the wider crypto market, the sentiment at the moment, well, with the fear and greed index, is down to extreme fear. I don't know if you guys spoke about this in today's session or
nope.
Space it, but it's very interesting to note. Like, we're down, not even at the same percentage retracement as the last big retracement in BTC, yet the fear and greed has hit a 10 on the extreme fear, and that it hasn't been like that for, I think, about
years.
1.5 years. And even before that, it only just touched it for a second. So 2 days at 10 at extreme fear in a row, and this is now potentially the third one. I think it's sitting at 11 at the moment. Then it'll probably drop down to 10, seeing where BTC is sort of shooting down to. That's interesting because we haven't had extreme fear like this for the majority of this bull run.
And that's why I think there's a bounce coming.
Uh-huh.
Oh, 100%. Like, but it's good. Look, like the last few cycles, if you had experienced them or, went through them, like retracements that happen on BTC, you hit extreme fear almost every retracement, but it would last for a very short period of time, might last for a week or two, and then the bounce would happen. But this bull run, the retracements haven't pushed the sentiment into extreme fear. They've gone sideways, and the time has sort of blown out a lot longer in terms of the consolidations and the retracements. But extreme fear hasn't hit the market until now in this bull run. So just interesting to point out that, either people are getting softer in crypto, hasn't been retracing hard enough. The newcomers aren't used to these type of retracements, this type of fear, but I don't know. It's still a standard retracement. Yeah, just my thoughts.
It's a very standard retracement, dude. It's a very standard retracement, and you could get a bounce from here. You could go down to, high 80s, get a bounce from here, and go straight back up to 105,000. Just like
man, dude, totally like that. And that's kind of what you wanted to do. You kind of wanted to give a nice sharp shoot down do what it needs to do, flush out whatever it needs to flush out, and then in a week or a week and a half or 2 weeks time, you want to see it back at the levels where, you know, if you just not looked at the market for 2 or 3 weeks, you wouldn't have known the difference.
Well, it has been a flushing. The leverage market was massively flushed, bro.
It was, yeah, true.
It's just vomited out. It just margin called like everybody, dude, that was going long. You know, so you had a lot of leverage that just got wiped out completely. But that's normal. That's actually really, really good.
Yeah. Yep. And so in this next push up, you know, over the next sort of 1 to 3 months, because that's where I'm expecting it to go. Let's hope RH has some tricks up his sleeve, and we'll just see what happens with our ecosystem, because God knows we've all been waiting long enough.
Yeah, well, we're going to be waiting a lot longer if it goes the other way, because you ain't get my damn PTGC coins. I'll give a damn.
Oh, you mean for the sacrifice? Yeah. I don't even think
the sacrifice or not, you ain't getting my coins at these levels. Shit, I'll just
not let it go of those.
Just let it go straight back down. I'm getting 55 times the freaking coins coming in my wallet, bro. I'm good.
Yeah, on the APR, 100%.
So,
anyway, that's all I have to say.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you coming up. At least one guy came up. Appreciate it. All right, I think that's it for the night, guys.
Yep.
Prairie, do you have any announcements real quick, like up and coming, anything, before we go?
Just a voice chat tomorrow. Zen, you're going to be doing a voice chat. He does a voice chat every Tuesday at 3 p.m. No streams.
Pacific?
Yep, Pacific. Yeah.
Okay, VC will be
Yeah,
open.
for anyone listening, we're just going to go over some of the stats, go over the stats website, looking at session, PulseChain, PTGC, I guess ProveX, Richard, anything we want to talk about. Also there to answer questions specifically about being UFO for anyone who doesn't feel comfortable coming on these recorded spaces and being thrown on YouTube. Those are non-recorded and just a question. If you're someone who does have those questions, feel comfortable coming up, you can ask those privately in that VC.
Yep, that is in t.me/the Gray's currency. The Gray's currency. t.me/the Gray's currency. And it's a great place for people that don't like to come up into big public settings and ask your questions.
Yeah.
Whatnot. So, okay, guys, let's shut it down. Appreciate everybody for coming.
Yep. Sounds
See you
good.
guys.
See you. All right, guys. The sentiment is, it's bad. It's bad. Only because we have red candles. We got green coming, man. Just wait, man. I mean, I hope I don't have to eat those words, but I'm telling you, I'm with Mando. I'm with, whatever I'm picking up. It's just, this is temporary. Absolutely. Don't hold me to it, but I'm telling you, man, I am so excited for the future of the Gray's currencies and PulseChain. 100%, man. You had to step away. It's all right, Big Sam. Hey, we answered your question. Yeah, there you go. Just watch the replay. I listen to every one of these while I'm working because I miss so much while I'm streaming. So I literally am going to listen to it. But yeah, I got your question in probably 45 minutes to an hour ago. All right, guys, go have a week. Crush it. And have a good night. Get some sleep. Man, I'm going to go get some sleep. See you guys.